Most people think that anxiety and overthinking comes from being a sensitive person, that it comes from just being wired to be anxious. But that's not true. The truth is that your body has been conditioned your whole life to protect itself from harm, from any danger in your environment. Most of us are conditioned to create negativity because that's how we believe we can protect ourselves from harm, from threats on the outside. And obviously, logically, that doesn't make sense. But our body thinks that the preparation, the anticipating the pain, anticipating through anxiety, that somehow prepares us for a threat, prepares us for the pain that's incoming. And what most people think is that you can overcome anxiety by becoming mentally stronger, by building resilience, by, having a better mindset. But you can't logically talk yourself out of anxiety. You can't logically talk yourself out of overthinking because it's all caused by energy that is stuck in your body. Counterintuitively, to overcome anxiety and to overcome overthinking, we need to work with our bodies. And this is easier than you think. It just takes some practice. There's 3 aspects to this. There are our thoughts and the obsession with past and future. There is our nervous system that is most likely overwhelmed and is constantly perceiving danger that is not there. And the third one is our limiting beliefs regarding our circumstances, regarding ourselves, and regarding our life in general. The first one, the obsession with thoughts and with past and future, is solved through presence. Now, what does that mean? When you're always thinking about the past and the future, what happens next? What is my next task? What's going to happen tomorrow? I'm worried about the presentation in a few hours. Or why did I say this thing yesterday? I hope they don't judge me for what I did. And all of these, we're always thinking about time. We're always either dwelling on something that happened or we're anticipating something that might happen. And what that does, it creates stress. And for most people, they're always in this stress state, always this slight form of stress that's become chronic. And what happens when that stress never rebalances and we're always stressed because we're always thinking about the past and the future is that our body gets addicted to the stress because it constantly releases those chemicals like adrenaline, like cortisol. And when we never get off these chemicals, our body gets addicted to it. So what happens is that we start craving stress, and not being stressed becomes a threat, we perceive that as a threat because it's unfamiliar. The way to overcome this is first to realize that you are not your thoughts. You're not your worries. You're not the things that you're thinking. Many people think they understand this, but they don't experience it. So they think they know that they're not their thoughts, but then they still obsess over them. They still obsess over what they're thinking because subconsciously they still believe they are those thoughts. And what you have to realize is everything you're thinking, everything that comes up in your mind, the mental chatter, is just the conglomerate. It's just a product of all the past experience that you made, all the conditioning that you have from society, from religion, from school, from your parents. So it's all the stories, all the beliefs, all the thoughts that you gathered, and that's what's constantly talking to you. It's just that narrative. So you have to realize it's not you. And this is where most people stop because they think, yeah, I understand this. I'm not my thoughts. But you can't logically understand this. You have to experience it. And the way to experience this is to meditate on it. I know a lot of people have an aversion to meditation because they think it doesn't work, because they think it's tedious, because they've tried it a few times and it didn't work for them. The reason it didn't work for you is because you didn't practice it daily. Meditation starts with being a very tedious and boring task. But once you start to see its benefits, like mental peace, the disidentification from your mind, and a general sense of presence in your life, then it actually starts to become something you look forward to. I personally meditate every morning, not because it's my routine and because I have to do it, but because I love doing it. It immerses me in the present moment. And it gives me awareness. It gives me peace. It gives me presence. And the more you practice it, the more natural it becomes to you, and the more real and tangible the benefits start becoming to you. So if you practice this every day for 2 weeks, I promise you, you will be more focused, you will feel more at peace, you will feel more present in your life in general, not just when you're meditating, and your life will improve in all areas. And through that, you start to slowly realize that you are not the thoughts, that you're the observer. That's what it's all about. You realize that you are not the thinking, you are the one, the energy, the awareness that is observing the thoughts. And the more of a gap you can create between the thoughts and you, the observer, the more you realize that this is actually not you, and the less of a threat they become to you, the less painful they become, because you stop identifying with them. And the second way to practice presence is to release the resistance. So this is the next step to this identification from the thoughts. You stop resisting the things that you don't want in your life. Now, this sounds counterintuitive, because if I don't resist the problems in my life, how am I going to change them? And this is where most people go wrong. They think that the problems in their life and the things that they don't want are the reason for the suffering. But the cause of your suffering are not the problems. The cause of your suffering is the resistance you create towards those problems. So when you stop resisting what you don't want, it stops hurting you. Now, pain is inevitable. You will always at some point feel pain in your life. But whether you suffer from that, whether you let it take control of you, comes down to whether you accept it or not. And the reason most people suffer is because they don't accept their pain. They don't accept their problems, the circumstances in their life that they don't want. And as soon as you stop resisting what is, because your problems, the things you don't want, they're already here. So creating negativity and creating resistance towards those things just reaffirms them. You just continue to perpetuate those problems by resisting them. But if you truly look at them, if you accept the pain, if you accept the anxiety, if you accept the overthinking, and you just observe it and you just look at it, and you don't try to change it, that's when it naturally dissolves, because that's when you're signaling to your body, I'm safe, this is okay. And the truth is that anything you're trying to change, not just anxiety or overthinking or worry or doubt, but also like physical problems in your life, like circumstances that you want to change, you first inevitably have to accept how it is right now in order to change them. If you don't accept your current situation, if you keep resisting it, then you can never take the steps to change it. So realize that you have to release the resistance to end the suffering. Your problems don't cause suffering. It's the resistance towards those problems that causes the suffering. Another way you can connect with that presence is to feel more than you think. We have been conditioned to always think, to always take things apart mentally, to think logically about everything, and to be very mind dominant. Our energy is always up here, and most people are cut off from their neck downwards. Basically, you have to start feeling again. You have to start sensing again. And the way to do this is to notice the energy field that's filling up your whole body. There is an inner body, an inner field of energy that is flowing through your whole body. If you just close your eyes for a few seconds and breathe into that energy field that's filling up your body, then you start noticing how much more present you're becoming. And if you just do this for a few seconds and really immerse yourself in that feeling, you don't think about it, you don't analyze it, you don't have to do anything. You just notice this energy field, this energy that's flowing through your body. And if you just practice this with me for a few seconds, you will realize that you were really present, that the thoughts and the analyzing mind, just for a moment, stopped analyzing and stopped thinking. And this is what all of this is about. It's about stopping thinking and starting feeling. Now, again, just like with meditation and just like with anything else, it's not about instant results. It's not about you do this one time and you feel amazing. But if you practice this daily, if you take, time out of your day where you focus on that energy and you immerse yourself in that energy, then it starts becoming natural for you and your body starts doing it automatically. And what I want you to do is every time you're, engaging with the world, when you're working, when you're talking to people, anytime you're doing anything, just keep a little bit of that attention that's normally going on up here. Keep a little bit of that, just 5%, just 10% in that energy field, in that inner body. And you'll start to feel way more peace, way more presence in your daily life. So all of this is a matter of practice. The more you practice this, the more natural it becomes and the more powerful the benefits become for you and become noticeable in your life. First thing is thoughts and the obsession. We just talked about this. The second thing is your nervous system. If you're constantly on edge, constantly anxious, then it's because your nervous system is overwhelmed with what's happening. It perceives danger constantly. And this ties into the stress addiction we discussed earlier. And the easiest and most simple way I can tell you to regulate your nervous system is to practice gratitude. And whether that's through writing down what you're grateful for every morning, whether that's through gratitude meditation, whether that's really taking time throughout your day and just thinking about what you're grateful for. The point is that you feel that emotion of gratitude as much as you can. Because what that does, it makes your body feel safe. It makes your nervous system feel safe. And that's what it's all about, to feel safe. Even if it's just, for the most mundane things like your morning coffee, your health, the roof over your head, the things you take for granted. If you're grateful for those things and you practice that, then you'll start to feel way more grounded, way more present, way more safe in your life, because that signals to your body, what is right now is enough. What is right now is good. I am safe. I'm well. I'm healthy. I'm okay. There is no danger around me. The third thing, as I said earlier, is limiting beliefs. So often when you suffer, when you feel pain, when you're anxious, then it's because you're holding beliefs about yourself, about a situation in your life that are limiting you. The first step to changing those beliefs is to notice when you're in a negative state. So whenever you feel anxious, whenever you feel doubtful, whenever you're worrying or overthinking, or even when you're just bored, any kind of undesirable state, whenever you're in that state, you notice that state and you start identifying, like, what's the thought that is creating that negative emotion? What thoughts am I thinking that are creating this negative state? If a thought causes you pain, then you have to assume it's not true, because your natural state is peace. When you don't do anything, when you don't add anything, you are naturally at peace. Whenever you're not at peace, then you're creating resistance. You're creating something, like we talked about earlier. You're creating resistance towards peace through some meaning that you give a situation, through thoughts that you create. So peace is your natural state. And when you feel pain, then you know that you're believing in something that is not true. Once you identify the thought, you have to assume that this thought is not true, that it's a lie. And then you assume some form of the opposite must be true. So if that thought that's causing you pain is not true, then what is true? Depending on the thought, this might take some time to come up with. But really be open to exploring this. And what you do then, when you have some idea of the thought that must be true or that could be true, then you look for evidence in your past or in your current situation or in anything that you've ever experienced that confirms this new belief, this new thought. And the more you do this, the more you rewire your beliefs. And the more you start realizing that the things that are holding you back, the beliefs that are holding you back, are untrue. And the truth is that when you realize that a belief is illogical, that it doesn't serve you, then you naturally stop believing in it. It's just that when you unconsciously still think that a belief is serving you, that's when you hold on to it. So you notice the negative state, you look for the thought, you identify the thought that's causing that negative state, you realize that that thought, if it's causing you pain, then it must not be true. You assume that some form of the opposite must be true. And then you look for evidence that confirms that this is actually the truth. In your life, in your current situation, in your memories, in your past situations, whatever, you look for evidence that this new thought is actually true. And this is how you change your beliefs. This was a bit of a longer one, but I hope this helped you. Remember, obsession with past and future, an overwhelmed nervous system, and limiting beliefs. Those are the three causes of anxiety and overthinking. And when you can work through these, which is a practice, it's a process. All of these things that I told you today are things to implement into your daily life. And while these may seem tedious to do, the more you practice this, the more you start seeing its benefits and how it impacts every area, every facet of your life. The more you see those benefits, the more you'll actually want to do those things. This rewiring, this presencing, this nervous system regulation, all of these things are things you will start looking forward to because of how great they make you feel. So I hope this video helped you. If it did, please leave a like, share it with someone you think could benefit from this, and subscribe to the channel if you're interested in these kinds of topics and if this resonated with you. And click the bell notification so you're always notified whenever I post a video. Other than that, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.